This is the white Linnmon desktop from IKEA. It's paired with a matching Alex drawer and two legs. The legs were $4 a piece, the Alex drawers were $89, and the tabletop was $22.99. You pair them all together, you get a pretty good setup. Now the top is laminated, made out of some MDF, maybe some particle board. I know it is hollow. There could be some pixie dust in there somewhere. I don't know, probably that last one's not true. The wife wanted this one. I had my own plans to redo my studio up front, so why don't we see what we can put together. 2x4s and a miter saw. If you don't got one of these, you could use a circular saw, jigsaw, handsaw, or even a rusty spoon if you're a persistent type. I don't judge. Cutting these roughly in half just to maximize my dollars and minimize my waste. I could have gone longer or shorter, but I'm also working with a space limitation, so there's that too. The table saw is my next stop, just to take off the rounded corners these boards have. I took my time at the lumber yard and made sure I picked the straightest boards I could find, so I don't have to deal with any twisting or warping. If I did, I'd start with jointing, but I don't, so I won't. Sandwich the boards between the blade and my fence. Then just tap my fence over a smidge, or an 1/8 of an inch, or whatever it is I feel like at the time. Run all my boards through for one pass. One side, nice and square. But, there's always a but. You gotta take care of the other side. Tap that fence over just another smidge. Round 2. Seven boards make up the width of my desktop. That dar's purty. I don't like to deal with any more than 2 or 3 joints at a time when doing wide glue ups like this. It just gets to be too much that I gotta keep track of. So out goes the center board and these 3 as well. That just leaves uno, dos, tres. There is a rule of thumb that says the end grain of edge glued boards should run in opposite directions. The reason for that is to help prevent potential twisting, cupping, warping, things like that. That's sound advice. You should listen to that. I, however, am ignoring that, as you can see by the end grain direction of my boards. The reason is because I have purposely chosen to put aesthetics over all else. This is a desktop. I'm going to be able to see and feel the character of this piece for a long time to come. I've chosen to put the faces of each of these boards in a specific orientation because maybe I liked the way the grain of 2 boards played off of each other. Or maybe I liked how a knot formed in a board and I wanted it to be a part of the visuals of my workspace for years to come. The point is, woodworking is not all about static rules of engagement. Sometimes you have to break said rules to get something that you want, knowing that you might or might not have to come up with a workaround somewhere down the road because you did so. And that's okay. Sometimes the value of a project is not in its perfection, but rather in its uniqueness. All right, that's the soapbox portion of today's video. You know this machine? I'm gonna use it. If you don't got one, don't use one. There ain't no one here to slap your hands with a stick. All right. Both glue ups along with the odd man out in the middle are gonna make my final width. If you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. So you can see I'm only ever dealing with 2 joints at a time in this glue up. I find it keeps things simple that way. You know me, simple and easy. All right, let's see. I'm gonna need this, that, and one of these. 80 grit sandpaper in my belt sander. That's gonna remove material pretty quick. I don't have to do much though, because I was pretty dead on with my glue up. So this is gonna be an easy job. Moving that belt sander from one side of the desktop to the other across the grain is going to ensure I don't get dips and valleys across the surface. That only took about 5 minutes. The less accurate you are on glue ups, the longer that portion is going to take. Slap some 120 grit on my random orbit sander just to help me smooth this out to a texture I'm more comfortable with. Oh, that's nice. Time to square off the ends. I can't just make a couple ticks with a combination square and lay down a straight edge. That's not gonna work. So I get the distance from the edge of the shoe of my circular saw to the blade and add about 1/8 of an inch to that. Then mark that distance from the end of my project that I want to square off. A T-square referenced off of my straight and true side gives me a line that I can then align my straight edge with. But Stan, you didn't do anything to prevent tear out. Well, I didn't need to. That's what this is for. Well, that and this anyway. I want my desktop to be rounded over not only on the top, but also along the bottom. So as soon as I finish rounding over the top, I'm gonna flip my project upside down and round along the underside as well. Nice and steady, Stan. Nice and steady. Another sand with some 220 grit. All right. It's time for the payoff. You know, if I'm being honest with myself, this is why I woodwork. Just to play with fire. A finishing sander brings home the pay dirt. Just gonna remove some of that loose char. Give her a good wipe with a damp cloth before we seal her up. That's pretty. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and eat your veggies. Eating your veggies is probably the only one of those things I would consider optional. Want some other cool projects? Check these out.